I love New Orleans. I love the state of Louisiana. It's one of my favorite places to visit, but it's definitely not my favorite place to deliver news out of because they keep delivering some of the worst stories. This is very tragic. In this situation, you have a father who was already dealing with a very, very tragic situation where he was under a lot of emotional damage as to what happened to his older son. But even then, no matter what you're going through, it cannot end like this. Let me give you guys a disclaimer before I give you the details. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this story from WWLTV.com. So if you guys are listening, thank you for the article. New Orleans, according to Kenner Police, a man by the name of Melvin McClinton Sr. succumbed to his injuries sustained from a suicide attempt. So he died from suicide following the death of his 3-year-old son. And I'm going to give you guys his name. His name is Carmelo, which is this baby boy right here. Early Friday, McClinton Sr. was reported still lying in the hospital in critical condition after he shot his 3-year-old son, Carmelo, then shot himself in the head. Family members, why would you do that to your kid? I don't care what you were going through. You can't tell me a good reason for that. Mental illness, none of it matters, okay? This is what I believe. So just for everybody to understand, full disclosure, full transparency, in my humble opinion, I don't care if you're suffering from mental illness. Mental illness will never and can never be an excuse to hurt, murder, or abuse children. If you do, it needs to be punished, and your name needs to be smeared through the mud, including this father who's now deceased, but he's not a good person, okay? Just want to throw that out there. Family members say that McClinton, the father, was grappling with the loss of his 18-year-old son, who was also named Melvin McClinton, and I don't know if I have a picture of him. Let me see if I do. So I omitted putting that picture in there, but it's really easy to find. But he lost his 18-year-old son who was shot and killed on February the 5th on 42nd Street. So that's a whole nother story in itself. I think he did an interview about it. It was just really, really difficult. I get it. I understand to a certain extent. Just a few hours before Wednesday's incident, the suspect accused of killing Melvin McClinton Jr., Jaron Crimmins, appeared in court, according to court documents obtained by WWL Louisiana. Crimmins is facing a first-degree murder charge and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm. According to our partners at NOLA.com, a detective testified at a Wednesday court hearing that the text messages showed that Crimmins arranged to meet up with one of McClinton's friends for a drug deal. So it was a drug deal gone bad, and I'm sorry to hear that this young man lost his life behind that, but I think that most people understand that there is nothing good that is going to come from selling drugs. If you do it, this is the type of stupid crap that can happen. Crimmins was also arrested previously in April of 2023 and August of 2023. Charges from those arrests include resisting arrest, possession of a firearm, illegal possession of stolen things, and more. Had McClinton Sr. recovered, the father, police said that he was going to be charged with first-degree murder. Oh, wow. Let me say that again. Had McClinton Sr. recovered from his wound, his fatal wound of shooting himself, he was going to be facing a first-degree murder charge. Lord have mercy. Now, I want y'all to think about this. In this story, How many black lives have been lost? Can we get a hashtag BLM? Which over here, if you understand hashtag BLM, it don't stand for Black Lives Matter. It actually stands for Babies Lives Matter. AFC, Advocates for Children. Hashtag BLM, Babies Lives Matter. How many black lives have been lost in this story? The father, his elder son, his younger son, and the person who shot his older son. And we continue to keep losing bundles and bundles and bundles of black men like we're losing socks at the laundromat, like it doesn't mean anything. If Black Lives Matter, why is it that it always only matters when somebody of a different race takes a black life? And I'm not saying anybody should do it. I'm saying, why do we do it in such high numbers and it doesn't seem to slow down? Nobody seems to care. Nobody's railing against it. Nobody's protesting against it. Nobody has set up organizations to keep fathers in the home and check on fathers' mental well-being and make sure that we're creating families. Make sure that these fathers are able to provide for themselves and their families financially, get education, start a business, be legal, rather than keep having situations like these all day. Family members are grieving. So let me skip that part. The family created a GoFundMe campaign. Lord have mercy. Y'all want to see this GoFundMe? If you want to see it, I'll show it. A GoFundMe for what? What's the point? What's the point of a GoFundMe? What's the point of this? I say it about anybody and everybody. People should have life insurance. So the biological father, no life insurance. His 18-year-old grown son, no life insurance. His 3-year-old son, no life insurance. Dora Brooks, and I'm not sure if she specifies who she is in this story, but Dora Brooks is the organizer of this fundraiser, asked for $10,000, and they've collected almost $10,000. It's a good picture of the young man. Good looking picture of the young man. My philosophy when it comes to these GoFundMes is, why do we go all out when a person is dead, but when they are alive, we don't support them, we don't care about them, we don't donate to live people, we don't donate to schools, we don't donate to furthering people's education, we're not giving people, what do they call those? Trust funds, college funds, things that would help propel someone in life. But we're going to make sure and get them custom wrapped caskets when they're dead. We're going to get them gold caskets. We're going to get them the best headstones. We're going to go get them the most expensive grave plots that money can buy. We're going to go have the biggest funeral ever. We're going to live stream it. And we're going to bring in famous singers to come in and sing and all of that good stuff. We're going to bring in famous pastors and activists. I've always been curious, why do we go all out for dead people? I'm just asking a question. We won't support the live people out there. Matter of fact, I want y'all to think about this. How many children do we have in foster care who still don't have a place to call home? They don't have a mother and a father. No one. And most of them are going to age out of the system, get out there in the world, and not know how to produce a proper family because they didn't see it and no one's educating them how to do it. but we'll start a GoFundMe. That makes our conscience feel better. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. You guys can help this channel. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, share this with somebody. I'd love to see more people see this video, okay? So here we go. Let's get it.
My brother, he love his children like to death, like anything. Like my brother, like he love his kids. My brother, he just, the things that he went through for as losing a son and trying to hold it together and everything, it was too much for him to bear. It was like, my brother was crying out. He was on Facebook, he was talking, he was telling people like, we have to change, we have to be this. You know what I'm saying? We have to do this.
And your 3-year-old nephew, tell me a little bit about him.
Mello, man, that's my baby. Yeah, he joy of the world, beautiful little boy. Like he used to be saying, baby, let me get that baby dog. My dog just had puppies. He just said he liked the baby dog. That's my baby dog. He ain't deserve what happened. Like my brother just was going through a lot.
Tell me your reaction to when you heard the news last night, and when you got that phone call.
I was there. I was a witness to the whole thing, but I left out of the house because I know me and my brother. If he mad, he gonna direct it toward anybody, and I just didn't want to be in it. And when I seen my sister-in-law run out the house, and I heard a pop, and I seen her run out the house, I didn't know what to do. I just didn't know what to do. Right.
So you were there and you heard the gunshots and you were out, it sounds like you were outside the house.
Yeah.
In that moment, I can't even imagine, in your heart, in your head, what was that feeling when you heard that sound?
It was like losing a child. It was like I knew I lost something.
Peyton, thank you. A Kenner man is unresponsive and remains in critical condition after police say he shot and killed his 3-year-old son, then turned the gun on himself. Leah McNeil joins us for what we know so far and why family members say the man's mental health played a role in this tragic case.
Well, Leslie, Kenner Police Chief Keith Conley says this all started as an argument that turned physical. It ended with the shooting death of this 3-year-old. The child's uncle, Thelmus Williams, says his name was Carmelo. Police got the call Wednesday night just after 7 p.m. Conley says Carmelo's mother and father, Melvin McClinton Sr., were arguing at a home in the 800 block of 27th Street.
Father of the baby took a weapon out, shot a 3-year-old in the head, and then went out into the driveway and shot himself in the head.
In the weeks leading up to this, Williams says his brother was not sleeping, on edge, and just wasn't feeling himself, grieving the loss of his 18-year-old son, Melvin McClinton Jr., who was shot and killed on February 5th.
He just, the things that he went through for as losing a son and trying to hold it together and everything, it was too much for him to bear. All he knew was the streets. My brother lost his child to the streets.
He heard the shot that killed his nephew. Now Williams has to bury his second nephew. Their deaths less than 30 days apart.
Mello, man, that's my baby. Yeah, he joy of the world, beautiful little boy. He ain't deserve what happened. Like my brother just was going through a lot.
Police also acknowledged the family's reports of McClinton's mental state leading up to Carmelo's death.
And when I seen my sister-in-law run out the house, and I heard a pop, and I seen her run out the house, I didn't know what to do. I just didn't know what to do, right?
tragic story tonight. A 3-year-old boy dead after police say he was shot by his own father. Moments later, the father turned the gun on himself. Good evening and thank you for watching. I'm Katie Moore.
And I'm Cherise Gibson. This fatal shooting took place in Kenner, and the family is now even deeper in grief after they recently buried another loved one. Alyssa Curtis joining us now live from Kenner. Alyssa, this is a tragic story that hurts all of our hearts.
It is just horrible to hear and to speak about what happened. We're told it's been an extremely tragic month for this family, and it all unfolded last night here at this home behind me. Last night, a domestic argument between Melvin McClinton and the mother of his 3-year-old son turned deadly. His brother spoke to us just a little bit ago, and he says his brother got to a breaking point after his oldest son was shot and killed just a few weeks ago.
Mello, man, that's my baby. Yeah, he joy of the world, beautiful little boy.
Thalmus Williams is grieving the life of his 3-year-old nephew after a horrific crime.
He ain't deserve what happened. Like, my brother just was going through a lot.
According to Kenner police, Williams' brother, Melvin McClinton, shot his 3-year-old son, Carmelo, in the head before turning the gun on himself Wednesday night. Kenner police say McClinton and the mother of the child were arguing.
From what the investigation revealed was there was a domestic disturbance over the father's disciplining of the child. So we think that might have triggered him to escalate into that act of violence.
The child was pronounced dead at the scene. McClinton was unresponsive and taken to the hospital. Williams says he was there when all this was unfolding, but says he walked out of the house because he didn't want his brother to direct his anger at him. He was just outside when he heard the gun go off.
And like I knew I lost something.
Williams says Wednesday night's incident wasn't out of malice, but instead the breaking point of a man who just lost another son. McClinton's 18-year-old, also named Melvin McClinton, was shot and killed February 5th. Williams says his brother was not acting like himself Wednesday.
He wasn't sleeping. He was like, every time my mama would tell him to lay down, he'd be like, all right, mama, all right, all right, all right. Like he wasn't himself. Like my brother is just the pressure of all the stuff and him losing his child. He lost his son. His spitting image of him looked just like him.
In the midst of this unimaginable tragedy, he wants everyone to know his brother loved his kids.
My brother was sick. My brother was going through something. He ain't hurt his child. He didn't want to hurt his child.
Let me stop it right there. And let me say this, because this is going to be tough love coming from me. From me to that man that you saw on the screen just a second ago. I understand that he cared and loved about his brother. He's known his entire life. I understand that he cares about his nephews. Could be a close-knit family. But at the end of the day, if he was going through something volatile, whatever it is that he's going through, I could even understand if he were to just simply hurt himself, to remove himself from this world, from this situation, from his own pain, and leave his son behind for the rest of the family to raise. I could even understand that, even though I'm not advocating for that at all. I'm advocating for people to deal with their demons and deal with their problems in a proper way. This ain't it. But on top of that, why would you take your anger out on your son, the most innocent, the smallest, the most defenseless, and the one who has the most to live for, to grow up and become something great? This might sound bad of me saying this, but I'm going to say it because y'all come to me, in my opinion, and y'all send me these stories because you want to hear what Jay really thinks about these stories. From Jay being from the hood, from Jay being from environments that I understand what drugs and gangs and all of that stuff looks like, and I can still tell you this. The path that his 18-year-old son was going down was already a bad, beaten path. He was going to become a drug dealer and a gangster at that point. It sounds bad of me to say this. You have to be careful what you put in your bed. When you make it, you have to lay in it. You have to be careful, and that is a cautionary tale to these young kids, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds that are growing up at that crossroads, trying to figure out what it is that they're going to grow up to do, whether they're going to go out and work, whether they're going to go out and start a business, whether they're going to go to school, whether they're going to go out into the streets to a dead-end, fast-track road to nothingness. That doesn't get hardly anybody anywhere. That has a very, very low success rate. And he found out trying to make a drug deal with somebody else who had no guidance in their life and decided to end his life to try to get a quick come up because they don't value each other's life. They probably didn't have a father growing up in their life regarding to the man who murdered the 18-year-old son. He didn't see any value in himself, so he didn't see any value on this man's son. And that man's son didn't understand what he was stepping into. To grieve that is one thing. To then turn around and take that out, why would you take that out on your littlest baby? For what? I don't give a freaking flying damn what you were going through. And for that, you've besmirched your name forever. And that is going to be your legacy, that you murdered your son. And no, I don't have any sympathy for the father of this baby boy. But I have every bit of sympathy for that baby boy who couldn't speak for himself nor defend himself against the tyranny of his father. So to Carmelo, young Prince, let me back it up and say R.I.P. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you guys so much for listening to this story. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Am I being too mean? Let me know. Thank you.